Okay. The October 14, 2014 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting everyone in the audience, please turn off your cell phone or put them on vibrate. Before I call the roll, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce our new staff attorney-to-be, Mr. Stephen Lake. Mr. Lake, raise your hand. He's the first of a kind. Thank you. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Ron Crawford, District 5.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Carol Ely, District 2.
She's in the office.
Mrs. Angie Boynton, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Mr. George Tomlin, Superintendent.
Here.
Mrs. Susan Siegel, Board Attorney.
Here.
Up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentation to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are being televised this evening. Okay, whoa. Let's don't do that. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily take action, you must first complete a goldenrod form located on the front table. If you do not wish to be televised, please mark the box accordingly on the form, and you will be allowed to speak after the conclusion of the business portion of this meeting. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student disciplinary matter, please complete a green form. This form must be fully completed and revised and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40. The procedure applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Before you begin your presentation, it is required that you state your name and address for the record. Matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsion, will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents wishing to address the board regarding a disciplinary matter will have the opportunity to do so at that time. I will now ask the board attorney to explain some additional points.
If you are planning to address the board tonight, please be certain that you have received the procedures which are on the front table and Mr. Christian has in his hands. I want to call your attention to the fact that no one can make a presentation unless prior to 5:40 p.m. they have turned in one of the goldenrod forms. Looks like the procedures only with lines for you to insert your name and information. You must give that to the school board's assistant. The subject of the presentations must be directly related to a matter on the board's agenda tonight or a matter which customarily appears on their agenda. Any use of students' names except by that student's parents or guardians is prohibited to protect student privacy.
Okay, before we get started tonight, I'd like to just clarify some things. We have about 7 people speaking on the same subject, and I would, for our courtesy, I would allow the first person that will be speaking the 5 minutes. If we're referring to testing, the 5 minutes. And all the other speakers that's coming afterwards we will allow 3 because of the repetition, and we do have some other items that people want to speak to. Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll. Please.
Okay. Ms. Jean McCall.
She's got 5 minutes now.
Good afternoon. My name's Joanne McCall. That's okay, no worries. Sometimes my writing is not so groovy. 2464 Arvaugh Branch Boulevard, Tallahassee, Florida. I am the Vice President of the Florida Education Association, representing members from Pensacola to Key West and everybody in between, which is Marion Education Association and the support professionals as well. We want to talk to you tonight about testing. and the mania that is happening around this state as far as testing is concerned. And what we'd like to ask this school board to do is to stand up for students. That's what you do each and every day. And what we're asking you to do is take a strong stand for students against this testing mania. Now, teachers are not against testing. Let me say that again. Teachers are not against testing. For goodness sakes, we invented tests. But it's how we're utilizing tests and what we're doing to students that is really the crux of what we're talking about. When we have a school day, we have a school year of 180 school days, and in some districts we are testing more than 85 days, upward of 100 days. That's ludicrous. When we're asking kindergarten students to bubble in and take an end-of-course exam, that has become beyond ridiculous. We all went into education because we care about kids. That's why you're here. That's why you are a superintendent. That's why you ran to be school board members, to make a difference and to protect our students. So those of us who are here in the schools should be making the decisions closest to the students. We should not be allowing our Florida legislature to mandate and dictate what happens to our students in our schools. We should be standing up together with one voice, making sure that our voice is heard across this state, telling them enough is enough. Our kids aren't for sale. High-stakes testing is not what we need. It's not what's best for our students. And I will tell you, they will tout all over this country that our kids are very much at the top of the game as far as testing goes. And they would be right, because we have created great test takers, and we aren't creating critical thinkers. We are taking away what's best for students and giving it to people who want to privatize and profitize our children. And so we need to make sure that as a society, we say enough is enough. And so I'm going to ask you to join with us to make a resolution to stop this testing mania and take back our state, take back our schools, and do what's best for our students. It's just that simple. You guys were elected to be school board members, superintendent. You should be making the decisions for your students here in Marion County. We shouldn't be having a one-size-fits-all. I have 2 students that went through the public school system. One's still there. He's a junior. I know. That's what I say, because I have 2 boys. But the bottom line is both my kids were very different. And my oldest kid, he really wasn't bothered by tests, high-stakes tests. It would just roll off his back. He'd take his test. He'd move on. My second child is the one that is nervous. He's the one that gets sick. He's the one that says, what if I don't pass this test? Does that mean I can't graduate? That is not what we should be doing. We should teach our students how to be critical thinkers, and let's give them all that they need. Arts, music, science, reading, everything. Kindergartners need to learn to be socializing and be kindergartners. They don't need to be test takers at kindergarten. You're going to hear a testimony tonight from a kindergarten teacher, and she's going to show you a stack of tests like this that she gives her kindergarten children. And that's ridiculous. So we need to make sure that we're doing what's best for our students. So I'm going to ask you to take a bold step. I know this is a conservative area, and I know sometimes we don't always like to step out and be first, but as we're talking about opting out of testing, we need to stand strong. All of our school boards, all 67 school boards, need to stand tough and stand strong and tell the Florida legislature and the DOE, enough is enough. We're going to tell you what's best for our kids. And if that means we're going to turn stuff away, then turn stuff away, because we became educators to do what's right for our students. So I'm going to implore you, listen to the testimonies of your teachers right here in this district. Listen to what's happening to the students here and know what's best for our students. So I'm just going to ask you, please listen carefully, have an open mind, and just do the right thing for the students across this state. If all 67 school boards stand strong, what can they do? So it's to y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Guys, hold the applause now. Let's go to the next one.
Vicky Trula.
Hi, my name is Vicki Trulieb. I live at 4700 Southeast 33rd Avenue, Ocala, Florida 34480. I'm a teacher, and our schools are a garden where flowers bloom. However, our gardens are being quickly infested and overrun with weeds. Marion County needs to stop this madness and become a better gardener before these weeds destroy all of our flowers. Students take too many tests throughout the course of the year. They deserve to have a quality classroom instruction rather than be chained to a computer or desk to provide data to someone who insists that they're only a number, only a statistic. My students, my children, aren't just a statistic, and they need you and I to work for and protect them from this crazy testing spree. In my English class alone, students are not only subjected to the vague and looming Florida Standards Assessment in the spring, but they're also required by the district, not the state, to take an additional 6 to 8 tests throughout the course of the year. These tests are imposed upon us because the administrators demand and thrive upon data. These tests are often scored with rubrics, leaving us to question the quality of the subjective data. What is this data really telling us about our students other than they're tired of taking tests and being considered a number? I've seen this data analyzed. You can't accurately compare an 8th grade reading student scores on an exam to an 8th grade honor student taking a 9th grade class. They're taking a separate exam. Yet, I've been asked to look at the correlation of the scores. Guess what? What correlation is there? There's not any. It seems even our data-hungry administrators don't always understand what data they're looking at or why they're even assessing the data. I guess numbers have more power than actual knowledge. I'm a gardener in my classroom. I come equipped with 2 green thumbs as determined by the state of Florida. I know how to cultivate flowers for prime beauty. Depriving them of sunshine and allowing weeds to grow doesn't help my flowers. Stop hurting our children. Help me help them. Let me do what I do best and grow a beautiful garden. Thank you.
David Steffi.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me this time in front of you this evening.
Name, David.
I'm sorry, David Steffi, 2027 Southeast 5th Street in Ocala, Florida, 34471. I have had the opportunity to stand in front of this board on several occasions as a teacher, as a volunteer, and as a community leader. But this evening, I'd like to come to you as a parent of 2 children who are in Marion County Public Schools. My daughters are in 5th and in 3rd grade at 8th Street Elementary. Since I am the parent, I will use their names occasionally throughout. The good old days. Well, we all remember whether our decade was the 70s or the 80s or before or after. And we reminisce on what it was like back in school when we were there. But honestly, we know that school has changed. We know that the world has changed. And I accept those changes. My wife and I, as parents, prepare our daughters at their young age for the annual testing that has played out for the last several years. Unfortunately, this year and in subsequent years, we're going to have to get them ready for the season of testing that is upon them. I'm fortunate that my 2 daughters are both on the ESE scale. One of them is at this end at the gifted, and the other one is at this end where she's troubled and has some learning disabilities. Although they will be judged the same in the end. We can do better. We should do better. We need to teach our children to be kids again. Show them how to care enough for each other and fight for their rights. To have fun and enjoy school again. In the end, we're all going to be held accountable for what we do for our children, my children, your children, these children of our community. In the end, we'll all be held accountable. Consider that there's a different way, there's a better way, and help each other, one of us, all of us, find that way. Thank you.
Can I say something, Mr. James?
Yeah.
Thank you for your passion. He won't let me speak. but
Well,
say
I want to
thank
finish
you.
with all of them. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Darlene Massey.
Thank you. Maybe. My name is Darlene Massey. I'm a kindergarten teacher at Ward Highlands Elementary. Address is 40 Hemlock Run, Ocala, Florida, and I've been a kindergarten teacher for over 20 years. I want to ask the board if any of you know exactly how many state and county mandated tests we give our kindergartners. Just a guess? Well, you know what? Let's find out. Would you help me, please? Beginning of the year assessment given one-on-one, first week of school. Just hold your hands out. Just hold your hands out. Flicker's assessment given once a year in the first 30 days to evaluate VPK, not kindergarten. It's very time-consuming. Fair test given once a year in the first 30 days, one-on-one, took between 45 minutes to 1 hour per child. It did end up being suspended. Ames Web Math given one-on-one test 3 times a year. 1, 2, 3. Ames Web Reading, one-on-one test, given 3 times a year. 1, 2, 3. Math Fluency, it's a small group time test, given 15 times a year. 1, 2. Math learning checks given in small group and one-on-one, 8 tests per year.
And this is kindergarten.
Reading learning checks given in small group, one-on-one, 8 times a year.
One-on-one.
Yes, ma'am. STEM, or math formative assessment tests, one-on-one assessment 4 times a year. Foundational skills for reading assessment, one-on-one assessment, assessed as many times as necessary to achieve mastery, 17 skills. Reading and writing assessments given 2 times a year. End of course exam for math. End of course exam for reading. End of course exam for science. End of course exam for social studies. End of course exam for music. End of course exam for art. End of course exam for PE. And end of course exam for all other areas at magnet schools. Could be up to 4 more. Those are how many tests we give our kindergartners every year. That's a total of 72.
Okay. Thank you.
Chris Altabello.
Thank you, ladies.
Chris Altabello, 2020 Northeast 43rd Street, Ocala, Florida. Good evening, Chairman James, Superintendent Tomlin, board members. Thank you for giving me some time to advocate on behalf of our students and teachers. For the past few years, I have addressed you from time to time regarding testing and the pros and cons associated with such practice. You have heard from teachers and parents as well. In the spring of 2012, the leadership of the MEA voted to join other stakeholders across the nation in support of a high-stakes testing resolution. Subsequently, the board decided to enact a resolution of your own titled Extensive Standardized Testing. I brought a copy today for your viewing pleasure. I come before you tonight asking if there has been any follow-through with this resolution. Since its passage, the complete opposite has occurred across the state of Florida. The state of Florida now mandates hundreds upon hundreds of new tests teachers must administer to their students. In addition, counties continue to administer assessments of their own, which at times mirror state-mandated testing. Across the state, we have witnessed some of our most vulnerable of children, those with severe special needs, being forced to take meaningless tests, and we now see how our earliest of learners are being subjected to this educationally unsound practice. Simply put, the testing obsession must stop. Now, make no mistake, there is a place for quality assessment and standardized testing in our schools. Student progress must be assessed. And contrary to what some say, teachers are not afraid of the accountability that comes with testing or student performance. But the extreme measures that we have been forced to implement do little for our profession and even less for the children we serve. Testing is not teaching. If Tallahassee will not cooperate, then we urge this board to explore opt-out policies at the local level. It is my hope, and I am speaking as an education professional as well as a parent, that the upcoming work session will allow this board to really dive into this testing obsession that continues to grip our county, our state, and our nation. I hope you will revisit your resolution and use it as a starting point for further discussion. Finally, I hope that your actions in the near future will demonstrate to our students, teachers, and education stakeholders across our county that you will have our back in what surely will be a fight for what is right for public education. And I'm going to leave this here so you can use it at your work session. Thank you, board.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay.
Mr. Ed Wilson.
My turn. Good evening. My name's Ed Wilson, 6960 Southwest 155th Street, Dunellen, 34432. And I am opposed to the high-stakes testing. I think that teaching to the test is destroying the quality of education our children are receiving. I think it brings down their morale. And if we cannot have them happy and wanting to come to school, how well will they do? How well will you learn if you don't care, if you don't want to learn? So you really need to look at the testing. I also want to support school choice. I think that we need to give parents more choice in their child's education, and that way we hopefully get more involvement from them. Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Ed.
Marguerite Kavanaugh.
Thank you for having us tonight, this afternoon, and thank the audience, too, for being here and all the speakers. I'm Marguerite Kavanaugh. I'm president of the local chapter of Eagle Forum and executive vice president of Florida Eagle Forum. We're a national nonpartisan organization. My address is 7545 Southwest 86th Lane, Ocala, Florida. Let's talk about the federal No Child Left Behind funding and waivers carrot on the stick, in addition to the race to the top stimulus funds dangled and already eaten up front by school districts. According to many attorneys and Dr. Karen Ephraim, besides being a major violation of the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, provisions of both No Child Left Behind and the fact that waivers are selectively and arbitrarily enforced, the conditional waivers are illegal, and incentivizing of Common Core and federal assessments through the waivers. And race to the tops, $4.3 billion of stimulus funds are in violation of 3 federal statutes. By the way, studies show upfront startup costs may be up to $10.5 billion startup. When it comes to state funding and getting relief from out-of-control testing, it's highly unlikely that elected legislators are going to listen to, or who are listening to constituents and following the Constitution, would sanction their colleagues even when the appointed State Board of Education's incomplete, biased talking points are presented to the legislature about noncompliance. There are legal, constitutional, and political reasons why the State Board of Education would be in error withholding money from Lee County, Marion County, or any other district that asserts their local autonomy and listens to their constituents. Let's address the violations of the current testing system as outlined by Dr. Ephraim's paper entitled Constitutional and Statutory Violations of Current State and Federally Mandated Student Assessment Program. Write this down. You can find it at bit.ly/1AFUECY. It's important. The violations of the 4th and 10th Amendment are included from the U.S. Constitution. It's a violation of the federal, first of all, the General Education Provisions Act, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, the Department of Education Organization Act, all of which declare state and local control of educational programs. There are violations of the Florida Constitution statutes regarding implementation of testing system, the technological load testing, and prohibition on practicing psychological or school psychology without a license. So I implore you to enlist your legal team on this right away. Will you tell us that we're a nation and a state and a county of laws, or are you going to tell us that we are led by the dreams and the phony talking points of bureaucrats and appointees allowed to dictate to our elected officials? Thank you, and I have something for each school board member.
Right there.
Thank you, Marguerite.
Brenda.
Christine Touchton.
Hi, my name's Christine Touchton. I live at 720 Northeast 30th Street, Ocala, Florida. And I'm here to address you because I want to know when you will stand up, be willing to take a stand, to vote to stop this testing, and when you will stand up and push back to Tallahassee and do what you're supposed to do in this position and tell our federal government that they are not supposed to control our Marion County school system, that they cannot shove Common Core down our throat or any other thing, that any other name they choose to name it. Now, perhaps each one of you, Ron Crawford, Nancy Stacy, Carol Ely, Angie Boynton, Bobby James, have been elected for such a time as this, so that you can stand up and have some true grit and moxie and say this high-stake testing is enough. Our children are stressed. Our students are stressed all throughout the state of Florida. It's not just Marion County, it's throughout every county in this state. We want our children to want to come to school. Learning is supposed to be a joy. Learning is supposed to be a lifelong experience. We are never supposed to stop learning. These kids will never want to open a book. If you're not willing to stand up and take a stand and say enough is enough. Thank you.
Brenda, is that it?
That's the end of our speakers.
Okay, board, this is the moment when you can make some comment. Mr. Crawford? Stacy?
I've been talking to him all along.
Okay, that's your statement.
I agree with you, and I thank you for coming up here to give us your opinions, because we're right there with you.
Ms. Boynton?
I just want to thank all of you, all of the teachers, the MEA, for coming out. Of course, many of you know we do stand with you, and on the 23rd at our next work session, we will be brainstorming a resolution, if we can come to consensus on it. It's already on the agenda for that day, because we do, I know I stand with you, so thank you for coming out tonight, this evening.
It's always a pleasure to hear what people are talking about and what they're saying and what we need to do. The thing that's occurring is that we are finally coming together as a collective group. The superintendent's group is prepared a statement that it will be similar to what the Florida School Boards Association is working toward and what the school districts are working toward in terms of resolution to showing that we have a united front. I did look at a few of the resolutions from the other counties that are in the same position we are and feeling the same way. I think for the first time we will have a collective voice that we can get the attention of people that are making these decisions. As we go through this process, and when I say go through this process, I know we might want to shortchange the process, but that's not what we need to do. We will start with this on the 23rd. We will bring back what we did in 2012 and try and come up with a resolution that we can put together, that we can take to Tallahassee and work with our group so we can have a unified front in all of this. So again, I want to thank everybody that came up and participated and talked, and the people that were out there that's showing that there is a movement for us to really take back some control of what we are doing. So this is what this is about to me, and we are in the process of doing some things like that. I want to thank you again. Okay. That's it for this portion of it. Now we'll go with inspiration and pledge. Mr. Jackson, Community Liaison, will be assisted by some students in providing the inspiration and leading us in the pledge this evening.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent and school board members. My name is James Jackson, and I am the new Community Liaison with the Marion County Public School System. I replaced Kathy Tramlow, who retired this past summer after holding the position for approximately 18 years. I am here tonight to report to you about the upcoming annual Red Ribbon Week that is nationally recognized in the month of October. Red Ribbon Week is designed to show an intolerance for drugs in our schools, workplaces, and in the communities that we live in. During Red Ribbon Week, which occurs during the last week of October, more than 80 million young people and adults across the nation show or demonstrate their commitment to a healthy, drug-free lifestyle by wearing or displaying the red ribbon. Additionally, October is classified as Bullying Prevention Month. This year's Red Ribbon theme, Respect Yourself, Respect Others, attempts to incorporate anti-drug and anti-bullying topics and ideas. Schools throughout the county during Red Ribbon Week will participate in various activities and programs that publicly denounce drugs and bullying. Red Ribbon Week will begin at the annual kickoff event on October 23rd, 2014, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the main headquarters of the Ocala Police Department. At the kickoff event, there will be vendor booths with an assortment of activities for students and parents to participate in that incorporate anti-drug and anti-bullying themes. Many local agencies will be attending the kickoff to show their support for Red Ribbon Week. There will be food, a live DJ, and opportunities to be informed on how to combat drugs and bullying that negatively affect our community. During the last week of October, the 27th through the 31st, participating elementary, middle, and high schools will compete in a school spirit contest. The school spirit contest consists of activities that are judged by the Red Ribbon Committee and school board employees. First place winners in elementary, middle, and high will receive $500 in cash, a traveling trophy, and hopefully recognition at a school board meeting in November. The Red Ribbon Committee and I would like to thank you for your time to publicly announce this event and ask that you wear red throughout the week of October 27th through the 31st. If you would please stand and we'll say the pledge. Boys. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for your time.
Mr. Jackson, I just want to know, you got some large shoes to fill.
Yes, sir, I do. I don't know if I'll be able to fill them, but I'm going to do my best.
I'm going to say welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I have a question. I know in years past, when I was principal, we used to receive red ribbons. I'm not sure who paid for them, or are the children getting any?
Unfortunately, due to the budget cuts, we don't actually have the supplies of red ribbons, but each school is being asked to individually create their own red ribbon themes throughout the school. They're going to have banners that the kids are actually creating. Right. We actually find that it's actually more interesting for the students to create those things. They take it on their own as their own type of ideas.
Because it's be difficult to wear red 5 days a week, you know.
I
think
yes.
I have one red outfit, you know. But yeah, that's good that they can individualize and do something at their own schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Are those all his kids?
Yeah, I assume they are. Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman and Board, with the exception of holding an attorney-client session prior to adjournment, I recommend approval of the agenda for the October 14, 2014 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, the audio recording and DVD included as part of the official record of the meeting.
May I have a motion and a second on the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Crawford, second by Mrs. Ely. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the August 21st, 2014 administrative briefing and work session, the August 26th, 2014 school board meeting, the August 28th, 2014 administrative briefing and work session, September 4th, 2014 administrative briefing and work session, September 9th, 2014 school board meeting. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mrs. Ely, second by Mrs. Borenton. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passed 5-0. Ms. Judi Zanetti, Public Education Foundation Officer and Board President, Nick Blaser, have two business partners for two different schools to be recognized.
Well, good evening, everyone. You know, I'm always glad to be here, and I always like to bring you good news. I know that on this rainy Tuesday evening, it would be nice to get some good news. And I'm bringing that to you. And first, I'm going to call up Mike Kelly, principal of Belleview High School, and Allison Harwick, representing Zaxby's Restaurant. And we know we are very familiar with Zaxby's, and we were here with Brad Harper from Zaxby's not long ago, and they became a business partner with Forest High School. And Zaxby's has just opened up a new location in Bellevue and has decided to partner also with Bellevue High School. So we're so excited to have both of them here. Mr. Kelly, would you like to say something?
Just want to say thank you to Zaxby's. I've been associated with Zaxby's for several years. We worked together, and they do a tremendous job with us, and we loved it when they came to Bellevue and said they were building a store in Bellevue. I said, great, I'm craving some chicken, so come on. And
we give you a discount.
We eat lots of chicken now at Bellevue High School, but they're fantastic. They do a tremendous job with all of our programs, academic, athletic, and anything we have going on in school, and we're certainly glad that they're with us.
Allison?
On behalf of Brad Harper and myself, we are very pleased with our business partnership with Bellevue High School, and we look forward to many more opportunities that will benefit our business and the high school and the community as well.
Thank you. Now I'll have Nick
whoa,
Blaser.
whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa.
well, Nick's going to give them their certificates.
Whoa, that one right there.
That one
Allison?
Yeah, that's mine.
I went to Denellen when he was my principal.
I have to claim her because
Well,
she
look.
started early. I have to claim
Okay,
her.
well, she's doing good, Mr. James.
I'm very
You can
proud
be
of her.
proud. And Nick Blaser is going to present 2 certificates, one for Zaxby's and one for Bellevue High School, so both can honor and acknowledge this wonderful partnership. And I just wanted to also say on behalf of the foundation, thank you to Zaxby's for stepping up, for partnering with 2 schools, and for being a true part of our community. Thank you very much, Allison. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. And to keep the good news rolling right along, I'm going to call up Principal Kendra Hamby for Madison Street Academy of Visual and Performing Arts, and her brand new business partner, Dr. Jones from Dr. Jones Orthodontics, or the Brace Place, you may know it as that. And look, we've got some little Joneses with us as well. 2 of them are students at Madison Street Academy in 4th and 1st grade, and one will be heading to Madison Street very soon, I believe. And again, we're excited to have this partner that's helping the Public Education Foundation connect children, classrooms, and community. Mrs. Hamby, would you like me to hold something for you?
I'll
Okay.
hold on to. Does Melanie want to come up too? All right, okay. Good evening, school board members, Mr. Tomlin, and everyone in the audience. It's a great honor for me to present our new business partner, Dr. Daniel Jones with Dr. Jones Orthodontics, to you this evening. Last spring, when I became the principal at Madison Street Academy of Performing Arts, it did not take long for me to recognize the generosity of Dr. Jones. For example, he donated his services by offering a set of braces for our annual basket auction. He also has donated items such as this beautiful blue tote bag and also the water bottles that each of the students received. And these house the school supplies at the start of the school year. I was glad that Dr. Jones agreed this summer to become an official business partner through the Public Education Foundation. Dr. Daniel Jones and his wife Melanie are supportive parents of 2 students at Madison Street, Daisy and Isaac, so give a wave out there, and also Colby, who's 4 years old, who hopefully will be joining Daisy and Isaac. His contributions to Madison Street helps us continue our excellence in academics as well as the visual and performing arts. Again, it's with great honor for me to present Dr. Daniel Jones with Jones Orthodontics this evening. So, thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Jones, would you like to say a word or 2?
I won't be long, I promise. I'm a local orthodontist. I have a private practice here, and like she said, both these 2 go to Madison Street and are receiving what I consider to be a superb education. And when I think about how important their education is to me, these 3 are when I think about that and how much value that is, the investment that I put in for the partnership, it really pales in comparison to that. I mean, to me, it's nothing. So I was very happy to do that. I'm very happy to be a business partner. I'm happy, thankful, and grateful to Ms. Hamby for approaching me with this idea. And I'm grateful to all of you for the work that you do for our kids, because in many ways it's probably a thankless job. You guys put a lot of time and effort, and it's the first time I've been to one of these, but thank you so much for what you do, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodies here.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, Ms. Zanetti.
Oh, me again?
Yes, you again, Ms.
Okay,
Zanetti.
all right. Nick, you can stay right here with me. Okay. I just like to be the bearer of good news. And so now I'm going to call up some friends of the foundation and some friends of our school system and our community that are representing the Ocala Film Foundation. And we also have several board members in the audience tonight, but I'm going to call up Mr. Gerald Ergel, Josh LaSalva, and I'm going to call up Laurie Zink. And for the board members from the Ocala Film Foundation are in the audience, could you just stand to be recognized for a moment? And thank you for joining us this evening. The Ocala Film Foundation hosts the Silver Springs International Film Festival And through their efforts and proceeds from last year's film festival, they are working with the foundation and sponsoring a student scholarship as well as a grant for a high school TV production program. But I will let them tell you more about those opportunities.
Thank you, Judy. Mr. Chairman, board members, Mr. Superintendent, it's a pleasure to be here tonight. I'd be extremely disappointed if all of you didn't know that the Ocala Film Foundation sponsored and promoted the Silver Springs International Film Festival last April. You did. Very good. Okay, thank you. No, it was, as all of you, most of you know, the film industry's had a rich history in Ocala, Marion County. But over the past 15 years, it's kind of disappeared. We didn't have any movies made to speak of, and occasionally we'd have a commercial. So there was a group came together and wanted to promote the film industry back in Marion County. And we formed the Ocala Film Foundation. And then out of that came the idea of the Silver Springs International Film Festival. Truly an international film festival. We had films from 32 different countries and almost every state in the union. So we brought a lot of people to town that had never been to Ocala, Marion County, Florida, and they took a story back to their people about what a great place it was to be. Part of our mission statement is to promote the film industry. And to promote the film industry, you have to have people to work in that industry. So knowing that the school system has an outstanding TV production program, we decided that probably the best thing we could do would be to try and generate some scholarships to give to the school system. Those would be classroom scholarships, money for the classrooms, and also some individual scholarships. So it's a great deal of pleasure that I present to you Josh LaSelva, who is a recent graduate of the school system. He's going to talk a little bit about the TV production program, and then we will have the fun time.
Thank you guys for having us here. My name is Josh LaSelva, and I was a graduate, class of 2014 from Forest High School. And a little bit about Forest High School specifically, because I can't really speak among all the schools, but I have a general idea. I was on WCAT, which is our morning announcements that we do every single day, and the money that we're funding and giving to these schools, to me, I was like, oh my goodness, this directly impacts the kids that are really looking this as a future goal. I looked at it and I treated it as a job, as something that I'm going to come in early, I'm going to do this, what I have to do, and do this done right. I'm a broadcast journalism major now, and what I've learned in our school system through our TV production program is really building blocks to where what I'll be in the next 2, 4, 6, 7 years from now. So first of all, thank you guys for the TV production program here in Marion County. And I know Vanguard's is very, very good as well. So the money that is supplied through this can go a very, very long way. And I definitely know that they need it. I definitely know that they need it for sure.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Laurie, you want to say something? That's a crazy question.
No, I just thank you all, and we are very appreciative to be able to work in partnerships with so many different organizations in town, and particularly our school system, because that truly was the reason why we wanted to create a foundation, so that we could do this kind of work through it. And I think it's really important to remember that filmmaking, it really is a plethora of what kids can do. Everything from digital media to music composition to graphics to screenwriting. So it gives a lot of kids an opportunity to really reach for something maybe they hadn't thought that they could before. So we look forward to seeing you all at the next film festivals. We're very excited. We had really amazing films from our school system, and we will continue to promote our own students. And just so you know, and these are juries who juror these films were nationwide last year, and major people like from Pixar and Universal, I mean major groups. And 2 of our local students won the student film section. So Alex Moy and Chase Young. And actually, as a result of that, the power plant has given them a project to work on for our community from there. So I think in just the first year, we've seen this kind of, the domino effect of what can happen when we all work together. So thank you all very much, and thank you, Judi, for being with us.
Thank you, Judi. Gives me, and as on behalf of the Board of Directors and officers and all of our volunteers that helped us last April, gives me a great deal of pleasure to present this check for $5,000 to the Public Education Foundation of Marion County.
We'll let Mr. Kevin take our picture. Ready? All right, well, thank you. See, now it's just cheered me up too, guys. So put a smile on my face, but I love to be able to be here. We have 52 schools. I know that you spend as much time in them as you can, but it's difficult to know what's happening in each and every one of them. So I love to bring you good news about how our community is really stepping up and engaging with us in education. Thank you all very much.
And Judi, I just would like to just share with the board, and especially with the film industry that was once here and really prospering. Out at Dunn High School, if you ever watched the film Jeepers Creepers, and you will notice that little road where that tree is always there. That's Highway 188. That's our tree. So if you ever get a chance to watch Jeepers Creepers and you look at those guys speeding up and down the road, that's Tiger Trail. And those and the film industry really embraced our kids, and they really work with us in terms of getting our kids involved with that. So I welcome you back.
Thank you.
We had one kid, Michael Roof, and he is a Dunn Island graduate, and he was in Hollywood, and he passed away, whatever he did out there. But the industry, I welcome you guys back because we really need it. Thank you again.
And I'd like to say, Mr. James, I'd like to say something. Mr. Ergel, Gerald, I would like to say thank you, Gerald Ergel. I don't know what kind of idea you're going to come up with next, but you have served our community your entire adult life, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care. May I have a motion to adopt a proclamation designated in the month of October as Disability History and Awareness Month? May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Ms. Boynton and second by Mrs. Ely. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Kevin motion passed 5-0. Mr. Kevin Christian. You okay, Ms. Boynton? Mr. Kevin Christian, Public Relations Officer and TV Media Production Coordinator, and Ms. Jennifer Creel, ESE Coordinator, please come forward for a reading and presentation of the proclamation.
Jen, I'm going to read this to you on behalf of the board and the superintendent, and we ask that you would share this with all of your staff and all of your team members because we know they make a huge impact on all of our students. This proclamation reads, whereas the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 is founded on 4 principles: inclusion, full participation, economic self-sufficiency, and equality of opportunity for all people with disabilities. Whereas to ensure the full inclusion of people with disabilities into society, it is necessary to expand the public's knowledge, awareness, and understanding of the history of disabilities and the disability rights movement. Whereas a key method of promoting such understanding is for public schools to provide instruction in disability history, people with disabilities, and the disability rights movement through curriculum, assemblies, and other activities. Whereas the goals of disability history and awareness instruction include better treatment for individuals with disabilities, especially for youth in school, and increased attention to preventing the bullying or harassment of students with disabilities. And whereas increased knowledge and awareness provides encouragement to individuals with disabilities to develop increased self-esteem, resulting in more individuals with disabilities gaining pride in being an individual with a disability, obtaining post-secondary education, entering the workforce, and contributing to their communities. Now therefore, be it proclaimed, the School Board of Marion County, Florida proclaims the month of October as Disability History and Awareness Month. And of course, it's signed by each of the folks up here and dated with tonight's date. So Jen, congratulations. I'm sure you want to share a few words.
I just want to say I'm honored to really accept this on behalf of all of our special education students, the staff members that we have working, and especially our teachers as well. I appreciate your continued support as we try to provide the best education for our students possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, you know Jen is a former Marion County Teacher of the Year. She represented her school, her classroom, and then now she's touching all the lives of students in our district. So thanks, Jen.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a revised board policy 2.20, responsibility and authority of the board? May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, this board policy has been revised to comply with Florida Statute 1001.395 and 145.19.
I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the revised board policy? Board. Seeing none. Board, any discussion? Call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to adopt a revised board policy 6.172, license of school bus drivers. May I have a motion and a second?
Moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Crawford, second by Ms. Ely. Mr. Superintendent.
This board policy has been revised in order to correct State Board of Education Rule Number 6A-3.0171,
I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the revised board policy? Seeing none. Any discussion, board? Call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt a revised board policy 8.31, student transportation? May I have a motion and a second?
Moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Crawford, second by Mrs. Boynton. Mr. Superintendent.
This board policy has been revised to assure that each homeless student has equal access to the appropriate public education, which includes school bus transportation.
I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the revised board policy? Seeing none. Board, any discussion?
Yeah, may I speak?
Sure.
I was concerned about children who are considered homeless. Let's say, Mr. James, somebody is in Denellen and they go to school in Denellen. They are moved to Ocala to stay with Grandma and Grandpa. They're considered homeless, so we have to provide transportation all the way back to their home-based school in Denellen. Is that correct, Mr. Superintendent?
I know that we provide transportation. Specifically speaking of that particular scenario, I'm not sure, Mrs. Ely.
That's just a lot of money, gas money.
Okay.
I know
Ms.
Mrs.
Kasaka.
Kasalka's here. Mr. Gregory would be the better one to answer that, and since we had a full house, he's down the hall. I can find an answer for you. I know that what this policy is doing is to comply with law.
Right, I read the law.
We would have to get him.
We are required to do that by federal statute.
Okay, so the answer to your question is yes, we would do that.
Okay.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I guess we don't have any choice. I think if Mr. Gregory said, do you think you can answer it more specific? Because
Mr. Gregory, the question involves the transportation of homeless children. Mrs. Ely gave the example of someone who initially resided in the Dunellen area, perhaps, and then became homeless and was relocated to live with a relative in Ocala, would we be required to transport them back to Dunellen to their home school under this provision?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Ely, that answer you?
Yeah, in those kind of situations, I know Suzanne McGuire is the one handling that, but do we offer to the parents, the school down the street to go to instead of
Certainly,
being bused all the way to
Yes,
Denellen?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We would do that.
Because
We would
it's the time on the bus and, okay, that's good.
We highly encourage that. Yes.
Okay, good. That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to adopt a revised classification description for Director of Curriculum and Instruction? May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Ely, second by Ms. Boynton. Mr. Superintendent.
This job classification description has been revised in order to update those positions which are included in this classification and to add additional information in order to make all of our job classification descriptions consistent.
Do I have anyone that would like to speak? I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the revised board policy classification description? Board, seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Five, 0. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted?
Second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the following donation? $2,004.99 to Bellevue High School from Bellevue High School Boys Soccer Boosters. $1,000 to A Street Elementary School from the Silver River Museum. $1,400.08 to Forest High School from the Forest High School Athletic Boosters. $1,000 to the Forest High School from Raymond James. $3,000 to Forest High School from the Florida High School Athletic Association. $2,500 to Hammett Bowen Junior Elementary School from the Hammett Bowen PTO. $1,250 to Maplewood Elementary School from the Florida Firefighters Charity. $1,000 to Marion County Public School Homeless Needy Children Program from Friendship Kiwanis Club of Ocala. $5,000 to Marion Technical Institute from Lockheed Martin. $2,500 to South Ocala Elementary School from their business partner, Triple Crown Trailers, via the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $1,500 to Westport High School from the National Association of Secondary School Principals. $2,000 to Wyoming Park Elementary School from Target Corporation. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Mrs. Ely, second by Mrs. Boynton. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. Ely, you didn't add this up tonight?
Yes, I did. I did. Of course I do. I mean,
Okay, Ms. Ely.
I had a question. First of all, I want to congratulate Jane Elsperman on being the National Secondary Principal of the Year for over 100,000 high schools, and I'm so proud of her. And I guess that money, the end of that, that money is from the secondary school principals. Is that because of Ms. Elsperman's
Yes, ma'am.
recognition? Oh, that's great. Let me see, I did add it up. Excluding hers, it's over $45,000, and that's incredible. And it's just so good to see our business stepping up to the plate to show how important our schools are, and the money helps in so many, many ways. And these are internal account funds, so the principal, the school has the options in much of this as to where they can put the money, whether it's technology or any kind of needs for the school. But thank you again, businesses and athletic boosters. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. The board discretion, I have none. May I have a motion to approve the revised employment agreement with Attorney Stephen Lakes to serve as in-house school board legal counsel with an effective date of October 15th, or when all performance requirements are fulfilled? Okay, Mr. Lake, you can raise your hand so they'll know we're agreeing on something. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Crawford and second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additional discussion on this?
I'd just like to thank Mr. Crawford for taking the lead for the board and doing these negotiations. I appreciate you keeping us apprised of each step of the way. Thank you.
Ms. Stacy.
And I would like to say I'm excited because this is a new way for the Marion County School Board. In the past, we've not been able to really pick up the phone and call the school board attorney without the clock starting to tick, and we got billed for it. It's going to be so nice to come in and have someone when I have an issue with a contract in the policy, and I can go straight and speak to him, and I don't have to wait until a school board meeting, or I have to call on the phone and worry about my bill showing up somewhere that I'm costing the district money because I don't understand something. And so this is going to be great. And I know it's going to help Mr. Tomlin because he also will be able to go in, and we chose someone that's got a lot of ESE background, which I know Mr. Vianella is going to really enjoy a lot. So we've really gone into new territory, and I'm excited. And Mr. Crawford, you did it again. You did a great job. Thank you.
Okay, kudos, Mr. Crawford. I watched your emails and I got the things behind the scene. You're a tough negotiator. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. That was a big aye, Mr. James.
I'm not getting it.
Meeting reminders. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, October 23rd, 2014 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to review the investment summary and update the student progression plan and the Marion County Public School bullying policy procedure and the Red Ribbon Week festivities, as well as discuss opting out of standardized testing. Look at your agenda. Please, if you can, have some ideas when we come together. And if you would look at your email, look at some of your emails and things that are coming up from down south. Some other school districts are working on these items as well. So that will give us something, some points that we can start with, and we can begin to work on this. If you will. Board concerns. Mr. Crawford.
Nothing.
Ms. Stacy.
Yes, I'd like to say a little bit about the agreement that the DESF agreement, that I'm having serious buyer's remorse on, that we voted on in June. we have done without this type of an arrangement, school board members, for all of these years. And other districts have figured out a way to hop on the bandwagon to get around state statutes, so we have hopped on it also. In looking at the contract, under the Article 22 indemnity, the DESF agrees to indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the Marion County School Board, its affiliates, and it goes on and on and on to number 3. It says claims arising from former school board employees against the school board regarding the loss of retirement or other benefit as a result of DES furnishing the complaint to the school board. This is a concern to me. We were told that this was all legal, but yet it's something that they felt they had to indemnify us for, to protect us. If someone does lose their retirement, and somebody tries this in court, and this whole thing blows up, they're saying they would cover us. Well, this is a corporation, and as long as they're in business, they can cover us. But Mrs. Siegel, I would like to ask you, if we have a contract with this company, and they did, and this whole thing where the state retirement does get attached, and because an employee that comes here going through the back door to come back to work prior to the time that the state statute says it can, this expense could fall on us. The employee could lose their retirement. And if this company went out of business, who would protect us if this happened? How does that work?
You know, I have not thought about that issue for a while. I can just tell you what I understand from my experience with other districts and this kind of contract. It has created some controversy in other school districts, yes. When it first came to my attention, I was informed that the state has looked at this and it has passed muster, because what it does is it permits the school system to take an employee that's finished drop and bring them back for a period of time until the statute would let them come back as a regular employee, but to be employed. And it has apparently passed muster. I do not know what safeguards are there with respect to, I can't imagine a scenario where in that circumstance working for DES for a year would make them forfeit all the past retirement. I think you're vested at some point regardless of DES, but I have not looked at the issue, so I'm going to be a good lawyer and hedge my comments.
Because the understanding is that if they do go back to work before their time, it can affect their retirement. And Mrs. Ely, you would know a lot more about that than I would, but this is what some of the employees have told me. And the mere fact that some school board member or superintendent got real smart and challenged this organization about it, they did include it in that they indemnify and defend and hold harmless our organization. But that is as long as they're in business. If this started,
that's a very standard provision of almost every contract, however.
But the fact that I'm concerned about employees' retirement and that issue, this is a huge, huge issue that we're telling our employees it's okay to do this. And if it blows up in this business for whatever reason, I don't know how that all works, but if this corporation closed down, sure, I think we could be in a pinch. And so I really would like the school board we need to probably go back to the table and talk about this, because I'm ready to withdraw my support for this.
Mr. Lake, you got your first assignment.
I was going to recommend you punt to Mr. Lake, who will be here shortly.
Okay, you got your first assignment. Look it up and look into it for us. Okay. Ms. Ely.
Okay, on a lighter note, I enjoyed walking with Mr. Christian last Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. and all of the Bellevue Elementary children for National Walk Your Children to School Day. We also got to see the lunar eclipse, which was exciting. And I have to tell a cute story. When I talked to the kids before they started walking, I said, and the parents were all there too, I said, I used to be principal at Bellevue Elementary back in the 90s, before any of you were born, and I bet some of you parents out there in the audience were my students when I was principal. And that's all I said. And we walked all the way to Bellevue Elementary, and one of this the mother comes and hugs me. "Oh, Miss Ely, it's so good to see you." She was one of my students. Of course, I didn't recognize her. She had her 3 kids with her, and it's, "Oh, it's good to see you too." But she recognized me. At least I haven't changed that much, but she sure did grow up. But it was a very exciting event, and it really gave the children a better understanding of the stranger dangers that could happen. The sheriff's department set up little stranger dangers things along the sidewalk, like, "Here's a $20 bill if you come with me," and "Here's a leash, come help me find my pet," those kind of things. And the kids were good. The $20 bill was probably the most enticing, but it was an excellent walk your children to school day. So thank you, parents, for supporting it, and it was very enjoyable, but it was very early.
Okay, Ms. Boynton.
Thank you. First, I want to just actually congratulate Ms. Elsterman again on her fine work as being Principal of the Year, National Principal of the Year. I'm really thrilled about that, but I also want to congratulate all the other staff that have won some awards out there. And there's a number of them, so I can't name them all. Just want to congratulate them again. And board members, I just want to let you know I'll be sending you something in your email regarding the opt-out standardized testing, some information that I've collected, so you can review it. And also, I received an email, and I just wanted to ask the superintendent if he could check to see if we have the book. It's perfectly normal in our library. Is it in our curriculum for any of our children? Is it in our library, or is it in any of the curriculum for any of our children? It's Perfectly Normal is the name of the book.
I don't know, but I can find out.
Yes, if you could, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Susan, we'll come back to you. Brenda, you have anything you want to share with us? Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've mentioned several times the October 23rd board work session in reference to opting out. I am preparing a packet of information for you on what some other districts have done, and I've also collected from some other superintendents and other districts the statutes that cover this. So I will have that probably in your boxes. I can send it to you 2 ways. I'll send it to you electronically, but I'll also have it in your boxes, and as we get things, we'll add to that. So you'll have some background information and some, I think, some very good examples about where you might like to go. Everyone's already spoken about Jane Elsterman. Certainly, we're very proud of her. We'll bring her here for an inspiration and the leading of the pledge at some point in time in the very near future. We are in the flu season, and board members, I'd like to encourage you and our TV audience, for that matter, board members to get a flu shot. If you'd like to, you can join me next Monday. Come on now, Miss Stacy. You can join me next Monday. We have a district site set up in which we're having flu shots given. It is a free service, of course, of all of our employees, and we encourage all of our employees to get a flu shot. And of course, I'll say to parents as we enter the flu season, universal precautions, washing hands frequently, and if your child is sick, please leave your child, or don't leave your child, but keep your child at home. That would be best for all of us. I want to share with you a little bit of information in reference to the recycling program that you know that you have approved that we go into. These are some pretty outstanding numbers for me, and our schools have bought into this, our children have bought into this, our principals have bought into this. In the last 2 years, we have avoided sending 906 tons of material to our local landfill. Through the recyclable that were collected during that time, we've received actually over $19,000 back to the general fund. But even more important than that is we have many fewer solid waste containers that we're using. Approximately $10,000 a month we are saving by not having as many dumpsters as we used to. So hats off to those people who are coordinating at our district. And I must say that Forest High School, the leading high school, Lakeward Middle School, leading middle school, and East Marion Elementary School, and fantastic that Hillcrest has the most recyclables per pound per student, which is a pretty great thing for that school. Also to invite you that our next Engage in Education meeting is this Thursday, October 16th at 5:30 p.m. at the Klein Center. We'd love to have you attend if you can. And then a final note, Mr. Chairman, please mark your calendars for, again, our annual Veterans Day ceremony at the Veterans Park, November 11th. That's Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. A fantastic ceremony in which our students participate alongside of the many veterans we have here in Marion County. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Some things I just want to note. As I visit school, I had an opportunity to be out at some of the homecoming games, and the kids are still beautiful. It's just beautiful to be out there. And just watching these kids and watching our staff work with these kids after hours. I was in your neck of the woods, Mr. Crawford, the other day, and we got beat bad.
Happens.
But when I think in terms of all the preparation and all the things that the staff really, when I say the staff, I'm talking about the people, the flag groups and the bands and all of that. That's what school is supposed to be about, is to see all of these people coming together. And just to see what was supposed to be a rivalry game turn into really a good football game and a good exhibition game, whatever, and seeing all the people there. It's just amazing what we do, and hats off to all the people that we don't say thank you enough, because it takes a lot to put on that show. Just a reminder, on the 23rd now, we'll be moving into an area where we want to really make a statement in terms of where we are. I have asked you, and I will ask you to make sure that we are prepared. And folk, if we can just, we are getting into an area where I would like for us to be almost like a surgeon. We are very precise, so we want to make this thing to the point where we can move it on, you know, and that's one of the things that we will have an opportunity to do on the 23rd. We want to look at it, see what we can do with it, and then we're in the ball game. That's what I have. The chair recognizes the board attorney, Susan Siegel. Ms. Siegel.
Let me try to turn my page. It's not. Board members, on behalf of attorneys Henry W. Jewett II and Meredith Stevens with the law firm of Rissman, Barrett, Hurt, Donahue, and McLean, PA, of Orlando, Florida, I'm notifying you that advice is still needed regarding the pending litigation styled secure communications versus the School Board of Marion County, as I had requested at the earlier meeting in September 23rd. That meeting had to be canceled for tonight due to some unavoidable conflicts. It has been requested that the current attorney-client session for tonight be canceled and rescheduled for the October 28, 2014 school board meeting. This request is pursuant to Section 286.011 paren 8 Florida statutes regarding a session with the board for the sole purpose of discussing settlement negotiations and strategy in regard to this litigation. I've asked the board secretary to republish public notice of the time and date of this session and the names of the persons attending. As required by statute, only the superintendent or designee, board members, and legal counsel can be present. I have asked a court reporter to record the session as required by statute. Her notes will be fully transcribed and filed with Brenda Flott-Ketter as clerk of the school board. Upon the conclusion of this litigation, the transcript will be made public record.
Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend the board reschedule the attorney-client session pursuant to Section 286.011 paren 8 Florida statutes to discuss pending litigation.
If there are no objections, I will instruct our attorney to schedule the attorney-client session to be held at the end of the October 28, 2014 school board meeting. Seeing none, do I have any? Okay, Mr. Superintendent, that's good. All right, thank you. It's been scheduled. Before addressing expulsion matter, I wish to acknowledge that the board have received the alternative placement list of our students through September 26, 2014. Are there any parents in the audience who wish to speak on behalf of a student regarding a disciplinary matter? Okay, we recognize them. Thank you. Okay, I will move to, may I have I recognize you. You will get your chance to speak. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of student JD 15-01 and JD 15-02E with educational service through the 2014-2015 school year? May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
It was moved by Mrs. Ely, second by Mr. Crawford. Are there any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion passed 5-0. In order to protect the privacy of the students, I will call a brief recess to clear the room prior to the parents addressing the board regarding a disciplinary matter. The business of the televised portion of this meeting is hereby concluded, and the meeting is recessed at 6:54. So at this time, we're calling a recess, so we can clear the room, folk, if you would.